95% of men get horny when women. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, I need you to lean in because what I'm about to share is going to open your eyes. 95% of men are moved, they are triggered, they are stimulated by certain things women do, and most of the time they don't even realize what's really happening to them. This is not just about lust. This is about how God wired men, how society has corrupted that wiring, and how we can rise above the carnal impulses that destroy relationships. Today, I'm talking to my men because I want you to stop being driven by just what your flesh feels. And I'm talking to my sisters because I want you to understand what happens in the male mind so you can be wise with your power. Brothers, let me tell you something straight. Men are visual creatures. We are wired by God to respond to what we see. It's in our DNA. You can't turn that off. That's why a man can be minding his business, focused on work, focused on purpose, and then suddenly a woman walks into the room with a certain energy, a certain stride, and it's like the atmosphere shifts. You didn't plan to look, you didn't plan to notice, but your eyes, your senses, your hormones, they all start ringing the alarm. That's not because you're a bad man. That's because you're a man. But here's the challenge. A lot of brothers never graduate beyond being visually driven. And when you don't graduate, you become a slave to your eyes. Whatever you see becomes what you chase. Whatever is shaking becomes what you want. And then you wake up one day wondering why your life is out of order. It's because your eyes have been running your life instead of your spirit. Men, we have to mature. We have to learn how to manage the gift of sight. Just because you see it doesn't mean you have to go after it. Just because it excites you doesn't mean you need to touch it. A lot of us have ruined good relationships, ruined marriages, ruined our reputations, all because we never learned how to control what our eyes feed on. That woman may be fine, but what is she carrying spiritually? That woman may have curves that could stop traffic, but does she have character? Is she going to add to your destiny or distract you from it? You see, when you're young and immature, you don't ask those questions, you just respond. I remember telling men all over the world, you've got to put your vision under discipline. You have to train yourself to admire beauty without turning it into lust. There is a difference between acknowledging that a woman is attractive and objectifying her. There is a difference between recognizing beauty and turning her into an image in your fantasy. That's where men get trapped. You cannot allow what you see to control what you think. You cannot allow what you think to control how you behave. And sisters, I need you to hear me as well. Sometimes you don't even realize the power you carry just by being present. The way you walk, the way you smile, the way you enter a room, it can light a man's soul on fire. That's why you must also be responsible with your energy. Because a man who is not mature will see you and think he has a right to you just because he desires you. That's why we need teaching like this so that we can all grow up emotionally and spiritually. Brothers, listen, when you learn to master your eyes, you become dangerous in the best way possible. You become a man who can sit in a room full of temptation and still stay focused on purpose. You become a man who is not easily seduced by the moment because you are committed to the mission. When you get to that level, women start respecting you differently. They can feel that you are not desperate, you are not easily moved. You are a man of discipline, and that is rare in this generation. Because here's the truth, this world is built to keep you stimulated. Social media knows what triggers you. Advertisers know what triggers you. The culture profits from keeping men weak in this area. They want you addicted to images, addicted to scrolling, addicted to chasing, so you never build anything meaningful. You have to decide, I'm not going to be part of that 95% who just gets triggered and stays stuck. No, you're going to rise above the flesh and walk in the spirit. A man who controls his eyes controls his future. He can see beauty, but still keep his dignity. He can appreciate a woman without disrespecting her. He can admire her style, her presence, her grace, but still know how to keep his soul in check. And when you get to that point, you begin to attract a different kind of woman, not just the ones who want your attention, but the ones who want your heart, your mind, your destiny. So, brothers, the next time that visual trigger hits you, I dare you to pause and breathe. I dare you to ask yourself, what does this mean for my life? Is this image going to help me or distract me? Is this about purpose or just pleasure? And when you start living that way, you start making better decisions. You stop moving based on lust and start moving based on love, based on vision, based on destiny. That is the man God called you to be. A man who can appreciate beauty but still walk in wisdom. A man who can be surrounded by temptation but stay faithful to his mission. A man who no longer bows to the impulse of the moment, but who stands tall and says, I control my eyes, I control my mind, and therefore I control my life. That, my brothers, is real manhood, brothers. Let me tell you something that may shock you. It's not just the clothes that make a woman attractive. It's the confidence she wears with those clothes. A woman could be fully covered from head to toe, not showing a single curve. But if she carries herself with poise, if she walks in a room like she belongs there, men will notice. Confidence is louder than clothing. Confidence is a fragrance that you can't buy in any store. It's in her posture, it's in her voice, it's in her presence. And let's be real. A lot of men confuse exposure with allure. Just because she's showing more skin doesn't mean she's truly captivating. There's a difference between catching a man's eye and capturing a man's respect. The woman who owns her space, who doesn't need validation from every man in the room, who carries herself like a queen, that's the woman who makes a real man sit up and pay attention. Confidence is spiritual magnetism. It's not arrogance, it's not pride, it's not attitude, it is the quiet knowing of one's value. And when a woman knows who she is, a man feels that he senses that he cannot play games with her. He senses that she is not desperate for his approval. Brothers, you know what I'm talking about? You've seen that woman who doesn't chase, doesn't compete, doesn't try too hard, but somehow she's the one you can't stop thinking about. Why? Because she carries herself like she is already enough. See, brothers, what makes a man truly desire a woman is not just the body, it's the spirit behind the body. There's a million beautiful women out there, but there are far fewer women who walk in divine confidence. And when you meet one, it shakes you. It makes you step your game up. You suddenly feel like you have to approach her with respect, with intentionality, because something about her tells you she's not going to tolerate anything less. And sisters, let me talk to you for a moment. When you learn to walk in your value, you stop begging for attention. You stop asking men, what do you think about me? You stop living and dying by who texts you back. You become the kind of woman who attracts attention by existing, not by performing. A man will start conversations with you just to figure out what's so different about you. That's what confidence does. It draws real men while repelling boys who are just looking for entertainment. Brothers, we have to also grow to the point where we recognize this. Don't just be impressed by the loudest woman in the room. Don't just be impressed by the woman who is doing the most to be seen. Learn to notice the one who doesn't have to do all that, but still somehow carries the room with her energy. If you want a woman who is going to be your partner, your teammate in destiny, look for the one who doesn't need to lower her standards just to get you. Confidence forces a man to pursue differently. When a man senses that a woman is not desperate, that she's not impressed by just anything, he has to bring his best. He can't come with lies and games. He has to show up with honesty and vision. This is why confident women inspire men to grow. When a man meets a woman who values herself, it convicts him to become a better version of himself. Brothers, let me help you. When you find a woman like that, don't run from her. A lot of men get intimidated and say, she's too much for me. No, she's not too much. You just have to rise to the occasion. She's showing you the standard. She's giving you a glimpse of what partnership at a higher level looks like. And when you match that energy, that's when relationships start to flourish, because now you're not just with a woman, you're with a queen who challenges you to be a king. And sisters, hear me again. And confidence is not just for show, it's for protection. It protects you from being used. It protects you from wasting your time with men who don't deserve access to you. It protects you from lowering yourself just to fit into somebody else's life. When you know who you are, you will walk away from anything that insults your value. That's why confidence is more powerful than clothing, because it shapes how you are treated. Brothers, when you meet that confident woman, don't just see her as a challenge to conquer. See her as a mirror that shows you where you need to grow. If she's not impressed by the flashy car, the quick talk, or the shallow gestures, it's because she's been there, she's done that, and she's looking for something deeper. If you can rise to that, you might just find yourself in a relationship that changes your entire life. So let's stop being men who are easily distracted by surface level appeal. Let's be men who can discern substance. Because I promise you, when you meet a woman with real confidence, she will not just make you want her, she will make you want to become the man you were destined to be. And that, my brothers, is when attraction turns into purpose. Brothers, let me tell you something that most men don't realize until it's too late. Mystery is one of the most powerful things a woman can ever possess. It's not about playing games. It's not about being manipulative. It's about having boundaries and understanding that everything about you is not for public consumption. When a woman keeps a sense of mystery, she forces a man to slow down, to pursue, to earn, to be intentional. See, part of the problem today is that the world is overexposed. Everything is online. Everybody's business is on display. And because we see so much, we stop valuing anything. When you can scroll and see everything on demand, you start thinking life works like that too. But it doesn't. The things that really matter, the things that are truly valuable, they are not instant, they are not on sale, and they are not free. Sisters, when you put all of yourself out there, when you give away all your secrets, when you give away your body, your time, your attention, your soul without discretion, you remove the incentive for a man to actually work for your heart. And brothers, when you get something too easily, you stop respecting it. That's why so many men keep moving from one woman to the next. They never had to slow down and really invest. Mystery is what makes you lean in and say, who is she really? What does she stand for? What does she dream about? It makes a man listen to what you say and how you say it. It makes him notice the details. And that's what builds real connection, discovery. When a woman keeps her mystery, she gives a man the gift of discovery. She gives him space to pursue her over time. And brothers, let me tell you, when you meet a woman who doesn't give you everything up front, who doesn't show you all of herself in the first week, the first month, even the first year, that's the woman who makes you level up. She makes you patient. She makes you consistent. She makes you prove that you are serious, and that's a good thing, because if you are not willing to be patient with her, you are never going to be faithful to her anyway. We live in a time where people are rushing everything, rushing to talk, rushing to text, rushing to date, rushing to touch. But when you slow down, you get to see what a person is really made of. Anybody can pretend for 30 days, but over time, character shows up. Mystery buys you that time. Mystery lets you observe how a man reacts when you say no. Mystery lets you watch how he handles frustration. Mystery shows you whether he wants your soul or just your body. And brothers, we have to start honoring that mystery. Stop being so quick to demand access. Stop thinking you deserve everything just because you are interested. Real men understand that anything worth having takes time. Real men understand that a woman's boundaries are not a wall to keep you out. They are a filter to keep the wrong man out. And if you pass through that process, if you earn her trust, then when she gives you herself, her heart, her secrets, her love, you value it because you know what it cost you. I'm telling you, brothers, there is power in the chase. There is power in the pursuit. When you have to fight for a woman's heart, you protect it differently. When you have to invest time, energy, prayer, commitment into getting her, you don't just walk away because you had a bad day. You stay because you remember what it took to build it. That's why mystery is so necessary. It separates the men from the boys. Sisters, don't let society pressure you into thinking you have to be accessible to everyone to be loved. Love does not come from being available to every man who looks your way. Love comes from being selective. The right man will not be scared away by your boundaries. He will be inspired by them. He will step up. He will adjust. He will be patient because he knows you are worth it. And brothers, we must grow up to appreciate that mystery. A woman who doesn't give you everything up front is not rejecting you. She is inviting you into a process. She is testing if you can be trusted. If you can pass that test, you earn something deeper than physical intimacy. You earn emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy, partnership. So don't run from the mystery. Don't complain that she's hard to get. Don't get frustrated because she's not sending you every picture you ask for or saying yes to every request. Thank God for that, because it's in the waiting, it's in the working that you find out if what you feel is real. It's in the process that you discover not just who she is, but who you are. When a woman keeps her mystery, she forces you to show up as a man, not just as a boy who wants pleasure. She calls you to a higher standard, to patience, to self-control. And that, brothers, is what builds real love. Because love is not just what you feel, it's what you fight for. And when you fight through the mystery, when you earn that access, you will protect it with everything in you. That is why mystery is not a game. It's a gift. Brothers, let me tell you the truth. Real attraction, real connection is not just physical. That's what society won't tell you. The world makes you believe that if she looks good, if the chemistry is hot, if the vibe is right, then that's all you need. But the truth is that only lasts for a little while. That initial spark can't sustain you through the storms of life. The real glue that holds a man and a woman together is emotional connection. You see, brothers, when you are young and immature, you think it's all about the thrill. You think it's about the chase about the body, about the adrenaline. But as you grow, as you mature, as you get some scars and go through some heartbreak, you realize you need more than that. You need someone who knows your soul. You need someone who understands your fears, your vision, your wounds. Because when life hits you, and life will hit you, it's not the pretty face or the nice body that gets you through. It's the woman who can pray with you, who can speak life into you, who can remind you who you are when you forget. Emotional connection is where intimacy really begins. Physical connection can happen in an instant, but emotional connection takes time, trust, and vulnerability. Brother, some of us are scared of that level of intimacy because it requires us to take off the mask. It requires us to be honest about how we feel, what we struggle with, what we fear. And many men have been taught to hide all of that. But if you never let a woman connect with your soul, you will never experience real love. And sisters, hear me. When you give a man access to your mind and your heart before your body, you elevate the entire dynamic. You teach him that this is not just about satisfying an urge, this is about building something eternal. When you connect with a man emotionally, you give him something that no other woman can replicate easily. Anybody can give pleasure, but not everybody can give peace. Not everybody can give wisdom. Not everybody can give inspiration. That's what emotional intimacy does. It makes you unforgettable. Brothers, the truth is, a lot of men sabotage good women because they never slow down enough to build that kind of connection. They just want to rush to the physical, and then when the physical no longer feels as exciting, they start wandering. That's why you have to shift your perspective. You have to learn how to date a woman's soul before you date her body. Talk to her, listen to her, learn her story, learn her dreams, learn what breaks her heart and what makes her smile. Because when you know those things, you will know how to love her beyond the surface. And sisters, you must stop giving away emotional intimacy to men who haven't earned it. Stop becoming a man's therapist when he hasn't even proven he's serious about you. Stop sharing the deepest parts of your soul with a man who won't even call you consistently. Emotional connection is powerful, and if you give it to the wrong man, he can break you in ways that take years to heal. That's why discernment is key. Brothers, hear me loud and clear. When you build emotional intimacy first, it changes everything. It makes the physical so much more meaningful because now you are not just touching her body, you are touching a woman you actually know, a woman you actually value. You protect her differently. You speak to her differently. You fight for her differently because now you are not just connected by lust, you are connected by love, by understanding, by purpose. This is why marriages that are built only on physical attraction often fail. Because looks fade, bodies change, seasons shift. But emotional connection deepens with time if you keep investing in it. That's what keeps couples together for 10, 20, 30 years. Not just how they looked when they first met, but how they made each other feel through every chapter of life. So, brothers, I challenge you, stop running from emotional intimacy. Stop thinking vulnerability makes you weak. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It makes you a man who can actually love, who can actually be present, who can actually build a healthy home. And sisters, never settle for a man who just wants your body but doesn't care to know your soul. Because if he doesn't care to know your soul, he won't care to protect your heart. When a man and a woman build that emotional foundation first, everything else becomes stronger. The respect grows, the trust grows, the friendship grows, and that's what keeps you together even when life gets hard. That's when attraction becomes destiny. That's when you stop just being two people who like each other and you become partners in purpose. Brothers, if you want a love that lasts, you have to invest in the part of her that no one else sees. Because when you win her heart, when you connect with her mind, when you minister to her spirit, you will have a woman who will walk with you through anything. And that is the highest level of connection any man can ever experience.